Sir, I went down twice.
No cucumbers?
No, sir, not even for ready money.
That will do, Lane. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I am greatly distressed, Augusta, about there being no cucumbers, not even for ready money.
It really makes no matter, Algernon. I had some conference with Lady Harbury, who seems to me to be living entirely for pleasure now.
I hear her hair has turned quite gold for grief.
It certainly has changed its colour. What cause, I of course cannot say. Thank you. I've quite a treat for you tonight, Algernon. I'm going to send you down to Mary Farquhar. She is such a nice woman, and so attentive to her husband. It is delightful to watch her.
I'm afraid, Aunt Augusta, I shall have to give up the pleasure of dining with you tonight.
I hope not, Algernon. It would put my table quite out. Your uncle would have to dine upstairs. Fortunately, he is accustomed to that.
It is a great bore. I need not hardly say a terrible disappointment to me. The fact is, I have just had a telegram to say that my poor friend Bunburry is very ill. They seem to think I should be with her.
It is very strange. This Mr. Bunbury seems to suffer from curiously bad health.
Yes, poor Bunburry is a dreadful invalid.
Well, I must say, Algernon, I consider it high time he made up his mind whether he was going to live or to die. This shilly-shallying with the question is absurd. Nor do I in any way approve of the modern sympathy with invalids. I consider it morbid. Illness of any kind is hardly a thing to be encouraged in others. Health is the primary duty of life. I'm always telling this to your poor uncle, but he never seems to take much notice, as far as any improvement in his ailment goes. I would be much obliged, Alfred, if you would ask Mr. Bunbury for me to be so kind as to not have a relapse on Saturday. For I rely on you to arrange my music for me. It is my last reception, and one wants something that will encourage conversation, particularly at the end of the season, when everyone has practically said whatever they had to say. Which in most cases was probably not much.
I'll speak to Bunbury, Aunt Augusta, if he is still conscious. And I think I can promise you he'll be all right by Saturday. Of course, the music is a great deal. You see, if one plays good music, people don't listen. If one plays bad music, people don't talk. But I'll run over the program I've drawn up if you'll kindly come to the next room for a moment.
Thank you, Algernon. It is quite thoughtful of you. I'm sure the program will be delightful, after a few expurgations. French songs I cannot possibly allow. People always seem to think they are improper, and either look short, which is vulgar, or laugh, which is worse. The German sounds a thoroughly respectable language, and indeed I believe it is so. Gwendolyn, you will accompany me.
Certainly, Mamma.
Charming days with Miss Fairfax.
Hey, don't talk to me about the weather, Mr. Worthing. Whenever people talk to me about the weather, I always feel quite certain that they mean something else. And that makes me so nervous.
I do mean something else.
I thought so. In fact, I'm never wrong.
And I would like to take advantage of Lady Bracknell's temporary absence.
I would certainly advise you to do so. Mamma has a way of coming back suddenly into a room that I've often had to speak to her about.
Miss Fairfax, ever since I met you, I've admired you more than any girl I've ever met since I met you.
Yes, I know her, in fact. And I often wish that in public etiquette you'd been more demonstrative. For me, you've always had an irresistible fascination. Even before I met you, I was far from indifferent to you. Who lives, I hope you know, Mr. Worthing, in an age of ideals. The fact is constantly mentioned in the more expensive monthly magazines and has reached the provincial pulpits, I'm told. And my ideal has always been to love someone of the name of Earnest. There's something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. The moment Algernon first mentioned to me that he had a friend called Earnest, I knew I was destined to love you.
You really love me, Gwendolyn.
Passionately.
Darling, you don't know how happy you've made me.
My own Ernest.
But you don't mean to say you couldn't love me if my name wasn't Earnest.
But your name is Ernest.
Yes, but suppose it was something else. Do you mean to say you couldn't love me then?
This is clearly a metaphysical speculation, and like most metaphysical speculations, has very little reference at all to the actual facts of real life as we know them.
Personally, darling, to speak quite candidly, I don't much like the name of Earnest. I don't think the name suits me at all.
Suits you perfectly. It is a divine name. It has a music of its own. It produces vibrations.
Brilliant, Gwendolyn. I think there are many much nice names, I think. Jack, for instance, a charming name.
Jack. No, there is very little music in the name of Jack. If any at all. Indeed, it does not thrill. It produces absolutely no vibrations. I've known several Jacks, and they all, without exception, were more than usually plain. Besides, Jack is a notorious domesticity for John, and I pity any woman who is married to a man called John. She would probably never be allowed to know the entrancing pleasure of a single moment's solitude. The only really safe name is Earnest.
You can take a seat, Mr. Warren.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell. I prefer standing.
I feel bound to tell you that you're not down on my list of eligible young men. Though I have the same list as the dear Duchess of Bolton has. We work together, in fact. However, I am quite prepared to enter your name, should your answers be what a really affectionate mother requires. Do you smoke?
Well, yes, I must admit I smoke.
I am glad to hear it. And then should always have an occupation of some kind. There are far too many idle men in London as it is. How old are you?
29.
Very good age to be married at. I have always been of the opinion that a man who desires to get married should know either everything or nothing. Which do you know?
I know nothing, Lady Bracknell.
I am pleased to hear it. I do not approve of anything that tampers with natural ignorance. Ignorance is like a delicate exotic fruit. Touch it and the bloom's gone. The whole theory of modern education is radically unsound. Fortunately, in England, at any rate, education provides no effect whatsoever. If it did, it would prove a serious danger to the upper classes, and probably lead to acts of violence in Grosvenor Square. What is your income?
Between 7,000 and 8,000 a year.
In land or in investments?
In investments, chiefly.
That is satisfactory. But between the duties exacted of one during one's life and the duties exacted of one after one's death, land has ceased to be either a profit or a pleasure. It gives one position and prevents one from keeping it up. That's all that can be said of land.
I have a country house with some land attached to it, of course. About 1,500 acres, I believe. But I don't rely on that for my real income. In fact, as far as I can make out, the poachers are the only ones that make anything out of it.
A country house. How many bedrooms? Well, that point can be cleared up afterwards. You have a townhouse, I hope. A girl with a simple, unspoiled nature like Gwendolyn could hardly be expected to reside in the country.
I have a house in Belgrave Square, but it's let by the year to Lady Bloxham. I can get it back whenever I like at 6 months' notice.
Lady Bloxham? I don't know her.
She goes about very little. She's a lady considerably advanced in years.
Ah, nowadays that is no guarantee of respectability of character. What number in Belgrave Square?
149.
The unfashionable side. I thought there was something. However, that can soon be altered.
The fashion or the side?
Oh. Necessary, I presume. What are your politics?
I'm afraid I have none. I'm a liberal unionist.
Oh, they count as Tories. They dine with us. Or come in the evenings, at any rate. Now, to minor matters. Are your parents living?
I'm afraid afraid I've lost both my parents.
To lose one parent, Mr. Worthing, may be regarded as a misfortune. But to lose both looks like carelessness. Who was your father? He was evidently a man of some wealth. Was he born in what heretical papers call the purple of commerce, or did he rise from the ranks of the aristocracy?
I'm afraid I really don't know. The fact is, Lady Bracknell, I said that I had lost my parents, but it would be near to the truth to say that my parents had lost me. I was found.
Well,
The late Mr. Thomas Cardew, a gentleman of a very kindly and generous disposition, found me and gave me the name of Worthing because he had a first-class ticket to Worthing in his pocket at the time. Worthing is a place in Sussex. It is a seaside resort.
where did this charitable gentleman who had a first-class ticket to this seaside resort find you?
In a handbag.
A handbag?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, a handbag. A somewhat large black leather handbag with handles to it. An ordinary handbag, in fact.
In what locality did this Mr. James or Thomas Cardew come across this ordinary handbag?
In the cloakroom at Victoria Station.
The cloakroom at Victoria Station.
Yes, the Brighton line.
The line is immaterial. Mr. Worthing, I must confess I feel somewhat bewildered by what you have just told me. To be born, or at any rate bred, in a handbag, whether it had handles or not, seems to me to display a contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life that reminds one of the worst excesses of the French Revolution. And I presume you know what that unfortunate movement led to. As for the particular locality in which the handbag was found, a cloakroom at a railway station might serve to hide a social indiscretion. Has probably before now been used for that purpose.
May
Would hardly be regarded as an assured basis for a recognized position in good society.
I ask you then what you would advise me to do? I need hardly say I would do anything to ensure Gwendolyn's happiness.
I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to try and acquire some relations as soon as possible, and to make a definite effort to produce at any rate one parent of either sex before the season is quite over.
I can't possibly see how I could manage that. I can produce a handbag at any moment. It is in my dressing room at home. I really think that should satisfy you, Lady Bracknell.
Me, sir? What has it to do with me? You can hardly imagine that I and Lord Bracknell would dream of allowing our only daughter, a girl brought up with the utmost care, to marry into a cloakroom. Form an alliance with a parcel. Good morning, Mr. Worthing.
Cecily, surest utilitarian occupation as the watering of flowers is of a more duty than yours, especially when intellectual pleasures wait you. Your German grammar is waiting for you on the table. Pray, open it to page 15. We'll repeat yesterday's lesson.
I don't like German. It isn't at all a becoming language, and I'm perfectly well and quite plain after my German lesson.
Cecily, your guardian, you know how anxious your guardian is that you improve yourself in every way. In particular, stressing your Germans he was leaving for town yesterday. Did he always lays stress on your Germans he was leaving for town?
Uncle Jack is very serious. Sometimes he's so serious I think he cannot be quite well.
Cecily, I am surprised at you. Your guardian enjoys the best of health. His gravity of demeanour is especially to be commended when so comparatively young as he is. I know no one with a higher sense of duty and responsibility.
As suppose that's why you always look a ball when we are together.
Child, I'm surprised at you. Your guardian enjoys the best of health, and his gravity of demeanour is especially to be commended in one so comparatively young as he is. You must remember his constant anxiety about the unfortunate young man, his brother.
I wish Uncle Jack would allow that unfortunate young man, his brother, to come down here sometimes. You might have a good influence over him, Miss Prism. I'm sure you certainly would. You know, German and geology and things of that kind influence him very much.
I'm not sure that even I could have an effect on a character that, by his own brother's admission, is irretrievably weak and vacillating. Indeed, I'm not sure I desire to reclaim him. I'm not at all in favour of this modern mania for turning bad people into good people at a moment's notice. As a man sows, so let him reap. Throw in your diary, Cecily. I really don't see why you should keep a diary at all.
I keep a diary in order to enter the wonderful secrets of my life. If I didn't write them down, I should surely forget all about them.
Memory, my dear Cecily, is the diary we all carry about with us.
Yes, but memory usually recalls things that have never happened, couldn't possibly have happened. I believe memory is responsible for nearly all the 3-volume novels and movie subjects.
So I'll speak slightly of the 3-volume novels, Cecily. I wrote one myself in early days.
Did you really, Miss Prism? How wonderfully clever you are. Was you not? I was not unhappy. I don't like novels that end happily. They depress me so much.
The good ended happily and the bad unhappily. That's what fiction means.
Yes, I suppose so. That seems very unfair. And was your novel ever published?
Alas, no. The manuscript, unfortunately, was abandoned. I use the word in a sense of lost or mislaid. Your work, child. These speculations are profitless.
I see you, Dr. Chasuble, coming up through the garden.
Dr. Chasuble, this is indeed a pleasure.
And how are you this afternoon? Miss Prism, you are, I trust, well?
Miss Prism has just been complaining of a slight headache. I think if you took her on a walk through the garden, it would do her so much good.
Cecily, I've not mentioned anything about a headache.
No, Miss Prism, I know that. But I felt instinctively that you had a headache. Indeed, I was thinking about that and not my German lesson when the raptor came in.
I hope, Cecily, you are not inattentive.
Oh, I'm afraid I am.
That is strange. Were I fortunate enough to be Miss Prism's pupil, I would hang upon her lips. I spoke metaphorically. My metaphor was drawn from Venus. Mr. Worthing, I suppose he's not returned from town yet?
We don't expect him until Monday afternoon.
Ah, yes. He usually likes to spend his Sundays in London. He's not one of those whose sole aim is enjoyment on his flower castle and unfortunate young man his brother seems to be. But I must not disturb Egeria and her people any longer.
Egeria? My name is Letitia, Doctor.
A classical allusion merely, drawn from the pagan authors. I shall see you both, no doubt, at evensong.
I think, dear Doctor, that I will have a short stroll with you. I find I have a headache after all, and a walk might do it good.
With pleasure, Miss Prism, with pleasure. We might go as far as the schools in bed.
That would be delightful. Cecily, you'll read your political economy in my absence. The chapter on the fall of the rupee you may omit is somewhat too sensational. Even these metallic problems have the melodramatic side.
For political economy, for geography, for foreign.
Mr. Ernest Worthing has just driven over from the station. He's brought his luggage with him.
Mr. Ernest Worthing, B40 Albany West. Uncle Jack's brother. When did you tell him Mr. Worthing was in town?
Yes, miss. He seemed very much disappointed. I mentioned that you and Miss Prism were in the garden. He said he was anxious to speak to you privately for a moment.
Ask Mr. Ernest Worthing to come here. I suppose you'd better talk to the housekeeper about the room.
Yes, miss.
I've never met any really wicked person before. I feel rather frightened. I'm so afraid you look just like everyone else. He does. You are my little cousin Cecily, I'm sure. You are in some strange mistake. I'm not little. In fact, I believe I'm more than usually tall for my age. But I am your cousin Cecily. And you, I see from our card, are Uncle Jack's brother, my cousin Ernest, my wicked cousin Ernest. Oh, I'm not really wicked at all, cousin Cecily. You mustn't think I'm wicked. If you're not, then you certainly have been deceiving us all in a very inexcusable manner. I hope
you have not been leading a dull life, pretending to be wicked and being really good all the time. That would be hypocrisy.
Oh, well, of course, I have been rather reckless. I'm glad to hear it. In fact, now that you mention the subject, I have been very glad in my own small way.
I don't think you should be so proud of that, though I'm sure it was very.
It is much pleasanter being here with you.
I can't understand how you're here at all. Uncle Jack will be back till Monday afternoon.
That is a great disappointment. I have a business appointment first thing on Monday morning that I'm anxious to miss.
Couldn't you miss anywhere but London?
No, the appointment is in London.
Well, of course, I understand how important it is not to keep a business engagement if one wants to retain any sense of the beauty of life. But still, I think you should wait till Uncle Jack arrives. I know he wants to speak to you about your emigrating.
My what?
Your emigrating. Uncle Jack has gone off to buy an outfit.
I certainly won't let Jack buy my outfit. He has no taste in neckties at all.
I don't think you'll require neckties. Uncle Jack is sending you to Australia.
Australia? I'd sooner die.
Well, he said at dinner on Wednesday night that you would have to choose between this world, the next world, and Australia.
Well, the accounts I received of Australia and the next world are not particularly encouraging. This world is good enough for me, Cousin Cecily.
Yes, but are you good enough for it?
I'm afraid I'm not that. That is why I want you to reform me. You might make that your mission, if you don't mind, Cousin Cecily.
I'm afraid I have no time this afternoon.
Oh, well, would you mind me reforming myself this afternoon?
It is rather quixotic of you, but I think you should try.
I will. I feel better already.
You're eating little worse.
That is because I'm hungry.
Thoughtless of me. I should have remembered that Ramon is going to lead an entirely new life and requires regular foods and meals. Won't you come in?
Thank you. Might I have a buttonhole first? I never have any appetite unless I have a buttonhole first.
I'm not showing you out.
No, I'd rather have a pink rose.
Why?
Because you are like a pink rose, Cousin Cecily.
I think it can be right for you to tell me such things. Miss Prism says.
Miss Prism is a short-sighted old lady. You're the prettiest girl I ever saw.
Miss Prism says that all good looks are a snare.
They're a snare that every sensible man should like to be caught in.
I don't think I should like to catch a sensible man. I should know what to talk to him about.
It's kind.
Uncle Jack! I'm pleased to see you back. Well, what horrid clothes you've got on. Do go and change.
Cecily?
My child! My child!
What is the matter, Uncle Jack? You look happy. I've got such a surprise for you. Who do you think is in the dining room? Your brother.
Who?
Your brother Ernest. You arrived about half an hour ago.
What nonsense, I haven't got a brother.
You don't say that. However badly he may have behaved to you in the past, he's still your brother. You couldn't be so heartless as to disown him, could you? I'll tell him to mount, and you will shake hands with him. Won't you, Uncle Jack?
These are very joyful tidings.
The sight of his loss, his sudden return seems to me peculiarly distressing.
Brother in the dining room. I don't know what it all means. I think it is perfectly absurd. Good heavens!
Brother John, I have come down from town to tell you that I am very sorry for all the trouble that I have caused you, and that I intend to lead a better life in the future.
Uncle Jack, you're not going to refuse your own brother's hand.
Nothing will induce me to take his hand. I think his coming down here disgraceful. He knows perfectly well why.
There's some good in everyone. Ernest has been telling me about his poor invalid friends Bunburry, whom he goes to visit so often.
He's been talking about Bunburry, has he?
Yes, he told me all about poor Mr. Bunburry and his terrible state of health.
Well, Bunburry, I won't have him talking to you about that or anything else. It's enough to drive one perfectly frantic.
Of course, I admit all that the faults were all on my side, and I must say that I think Brother John's coldness to me peculiarly painful. I expected a more enthusiastic welcome, especially considering it is the first time I have come here.
Uncle Jack, if you do not shake hands with Ernest, I will never forgive you.
Never forgive me.
Never, never, never.
Well, this is the last time I shall ever do it.
It is pleasant, is it not? To see so perfect a reconciliation between brothers. You might read the two of them together.
Cecily, you will come with us.
Certainly, Miss Prism. My little task of reconciliation is over.
You did a beautiful action today, child.
We must not be premature in our judgments.
Very happy.
Algy, you young scoundrel! You have to get out of here as soon as possible. I don't allow any Bunburry in here.
I have put Mr. Earnest's things in the room next to yours, sir.
What?
Mr. Earnest's luggage, sir. I've unpacked it and put it in the room next to your own.
His luggage?
Yes, sir. 3 portmanteaus, a dressing case, 2 pet boxes, and a large luncheon basket.
I'm afraid I can't stay for more than a week this time.
Merriman, order the dog cart. Mr. Earnest has been suddenly called back to town.
Yes, sir.
What a fearful liar you are, Jack. I have not been called back to town at all.
Oh, I merely came back to water the roses. I thought you were with Uncle Jack.
He's gone to order the dog cart for me.
Oh, is he going to take you for a nice drive?
He's going to send me away.
Then have we got to part?
I'm afraid so. It's a very painful parting. It's always a painful parting. You know, one has just been introduced.
It is bearable to be away from friends, but even a momentary separation from anyone to whom one has just been introduced is almost unbearable.
Thank you.
The dog cart is at the door, sir.
Would you wait, Merriman, for 5 minutes?
Yes, miss.
Cecily, I hope I shall not offend you if I state quite frankly and openly that you seem to me to be in every way the visible personification of absolute perfection.
I think your frankness does you great credit, Ernest. If you don't mind, I will take down your words as I go.
Do you really keep diary? I give anything to look at it. May I?
Oh no. You see, it is simply a very young girl's record of her own thoughts and impressions, and consequently meant for publication. When it appears in novel form, I hope you will, Toby. But pray, Ernest, don't stop. I delight in taking down from dictation. I've reached absolute perfection. You can go on. I'm quite ready for more. Don't cough, Ernest. When one is dictating, one should speak fluently and not cough. Besides, I don't know how to spell cough.
Cecily, ever since I first looked upon your wonderful and incomparable beauty, I have dared to love you wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly.
I don't think you should tell me that you love me. Wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly. Hopelessly doesn't seem to make much sense, does it?
Cecily,
The dog cart is waiting, sir.
tell her to come round next week at the same hour.
Yes, sir.
Uncle Jack would be very much annoyed if you knew you're staying on till next week at the same hour.
Oh, I don't care about Jack. I don't care for anyone in the whole world but you. I love you, Cecily. You will marry me, won't you?
You silly boy, of course. You've been engaged for the last 3 months.
For the last 3 months?
Yes, it would be exactly 3 months on Thursday.
But how did we become engaged?
Well, ever since your Uncle Jack first confessed to us that he had a younger brother who was very wicked and bad, you, of course, have formed the chief topic of conversation between myself and Miss Prism. And, of course, a man who is much talked about is always very attractive. I dare say it was foolish of me, Ernest. But I fell in love.
Darling, and when was our engagement actually settled?
On the 14th of February last, worn out by your entire ignorance of my existence, I determined then to end the matter one way or the other. And after a long struggle with myself, I accepted you under this dear old tree here. The next day, I bought this ring in your name. This is the little bangle, which has the true lover's knot, which I promised you always to wear.
Did I give you this? It is very pretty, isn't it?
Yes, you have wonderfully good taste, Ernest. It's the excuse I've always given you for your leading such a bad life. And this little box in which I keep all your dear letters.
My letters? But my own sweet Cecily, I have never written you any letters.
You'd hardly remind me of that, Ernest. I remember only too well that I was forced to write your letters for you. I wrote 3 times a week, and sometimes oftener.
Oh, do let me read them, Cecily.
Oh, I couldn't possibly. They would make you far too conceited. The 3 you wrote me after I had broken off the engagement are so beautiful and so adding spells that even now I can hardly read them without crying a little.
But was our engagement ever broken off?
Of course it was. On the 22nd of last March, you can see the entry if you like. Today, I broke off my engagement with Earnest. I feel it is better to do so. The weather still continues charming.
Why on earth did you break it off? What had I done? I had done nothing. Cecily, I am very much hurt indeed to hear you broke it off. Particularly when the weather was so charming.
Well, it would hardly have been a really serious engagement if it hadn't been broken off the police force. But I forgave you before the week was out.
What a perfect angel you are, Cecily.
You sweet romantic boy. Oh, your head cousin actually, I suppose.
Yes, dear. With a little help from others.
I'm so glad.
We'll never break off our engagement again, will you, Cecily?
I don't think I could break it off now that I've actually met you. Besides, of course, there's the question of your name.
Of course.
You mustn't laugh at me, darling. But it has always been a girlish dream of mine to love someone. His name was Earnest. There's something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. I could date any poor-married woman whose husband is not called Earnest.
But my dear child, do you mean to say that you could not love me if I had some other name?
But what name?
Oh, any name you like. Algernon, for instance.
I don't like the name of Algernon.
Well, my own dear, sweet, lovely little darling. I really can't see why you object to the name of Algernon. It's not at all a bad name. In fact, it's a rather aristocratic name. Half the chaps in coming to the bankruptcy court are called Algernon. Seriously, if my name was Algie, couldn't you love me?
I might respect you, Ernest. I might admire your character. But I fear I couldn't give you undivided attention.
Ahem! Cecily, your rector here is, I suppose, thoroughly experienced in the practice of all the rites and ceremonials of the church.
Oh, yes. Dr. Chaswell is a most learned man. He has never written a single book, so you can imagine how much he knows.
Speaking at once upon a most important christening, upon most important business.
Oh?
I shan't be away for more than half an hour.
Considering that we have been engaged since February the 14th, and I only met you today for the first time, I think it is rather hard for you to leave me for so long a period as half an hour. Couldn't you make it 20 minutes?
I'll be back in no time.
What an impetuous boy he is. I like his hair so much. I must enter his proposal into my diary.
Miss Fairfax has just called to see Mr. Worthing on very important business, Miss Fairfax states.
Is it Mr. Worthing in his library?
Mr. Worthing went over in the direction of the rectory some time ago.
Pray, ask the lady to come here. And you can bring tea.
Yes, miss.
Miss Fairfax. One of the good elderly women who are associated with Uncle Jack in some of his philanthropic work in London, I suppose. I don't quite like women who are interested in philanthropic work. I'm just so bored of them.
Miss Fairfax.
Right, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Cecily Cardew.
Cecily Cardew. What a very sweet name. Something tells me we're going to be great friends. I like you already more than I can say. My first impressions of people are never wrong.
How very nice of you to like me so much after we've known each other for such a comparatively short time. Pray, sit down.
I may call you Cecily, may I not?
With pleasure,
And you will always call me Gwendolen, won't you?
if you wish.
Then it is all quite settled, is it not?
I hope so.
Perhaps this might be a favourable opportunity for my mentioning who I am. My father is Lord Bracknell. You have never heard of Papa, I suppose.
You don't think so?
Outside the family circle, Papa, I'm glad to say, is entirely unknown. I think that is quite as it should be. The home seems to me to be the proper sphere for the man. And certainly, once a man begins to neglect his domestic duties, he becomes painfully effeminate, does he not? And I don't like that. It makes men so very attractive. Cecily, Mamma, whose views on education are remarkably strict, has brought me up to be extremely short-sighted. It is part of the system. So do you mind my looking at you for my glasses?
No, not at all, Gwendolyn. I'm very fond of being looked at.
You are here on a short visit, I suppose.
Oh no, I live here.
Really? Your mother, no doubt, or some female relative of advanced years resides here also.
Oh no, I have no mother, or in fact any relations.
Indeed.
My dear guardian, with the assistance of Miss Prison, had the arduous task of looking after me.
Your guardian?
Yes, I am Mr. Worthing for.
Oh. It is strange you never mentioned to me that he had a ward. How secretive of him. He grows more interesting hourly. I am not sure, however, that the news inspires you feelings of unmixed delight. I am very fond of you, Cecily. I
that you are Mr. Worthing's ward. I cannot help expressing a wish you were, well, just a little bit older than you seem to be, and not quite so very alluring in appearance. In fact, if I may speak candidly,
Pray do. I think that when anyone has anything unpleasant to say, we should always be quite candid.
well, to speak with perfect candour, Cecily, I wish that you were fully 42. More than usually plain for your age. Ernest is a strong, upright nature. He's the very soul of truth and honour. Disloyalty would be as impossible to him as deception. But even men of the noblest possible moral character are extremely susceptible to the influence of the physical charms of others. Modern, no less than ancient history supplies us with many most painful examples of what I refer to. If it were not so indeed, history would be quite unreadable.
I beg your pardon, Gwendolyn. Did you say Ernest?
Yes.
Oh, this is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is my guardian. It is his brother, his elder brother.
Ernest never mentioned to me that he had a brother.
I am sorry to say that they have not been on good terms for a long time.
Ah, that accounts for it. But now that I think of it, I've never heard any man mention his brother. The subject seems distasteful to most men. Cecily, you've lifted a load from my mind. I was growing almost anxious. It would have been terrible if any cloud had come across a friendship like ours, would it not? Of course, you are quite sure that it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is your guardian.
Quite sure. In fact, I am going to be his.
I beg your pardon?
Gwendolyn, there is no reason why I should make a secret of it to you. A little county newspaper is sure to come up with the fact next week. Mr. Ernest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
My darling Cecily, I think there must be some slight error. Mr. Ernest Worthing is engaged to me. The announcement of it will appear in the Morning Post on Saturday at the latest.
I'm afraid you must be under some mistake. Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
It is certainly very curious, for he asked me to be his wife yesterday afternoon at 5:30. If you would care to verify the incident, pray do so. I never travel without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read in the train. I'm so sorry, dear Cecily, if it is any disappointment to you, but I'm afraid I have a private claim.
It would distress me more than I can tell you, dearest Gwendolyn, if it caused you any mental or physical anguish. But I feel bound to point out that since Ernest proposed to you, he clearly has changed his mind.
Whatever unfortunate intending that has gotten me into, I shall consider it my duty to rest him at once, and with firm hand.
But my poor boy has been... Whatever unfortunate entanglement my poor boy may have gotten himself into, I will never reproach him with it after we're married.
Do you allude to me, Miss Cardew, as an entanglement? You are presumptuous. On an occasion of this kind, it becomes more than a moral duty to speak one's mind. It becomes a pleasure.
Do you suggest, Miss Fairfax, that I entrapped Ernest into an engagement? How dare you? This is no time for wearing this shallow mask of manners. When I see a spade, I call it a spade.
I'm glad to say that I've never seen spade. It is obvious that our social spheres have been widely different.
Shall I lay tea here as usual, miss? Yes, as usual.
Are there many interesting walks in the vicinity, Miss Cardew?
Oh yes, a great many. From the top of one of the hills, quite close, one can see 5 counties.
5 counties? I don't think I should like that. I hate crowds.
I suppose this is why you live in town.
Quite a well-kept garden, this is, Miss Cardew.
So glad you like it, Miss Fairfax.
I had no idea there were any flowers in the country.
Oh, flowers are as common here as people are in London.
Personally, I cannot understand how anybody manages to exist in the country. If anybody who is anybody does. The country always bores me to death.
Ah, this is what the newspapers call agricultural depression, is it not? I believe the aristocracy are suffering very much from it just at present. It is almost an epidemic amongst them, I believe. Would you like some tea, Miss Fairfax?
Thank you. Detestable girl. But I require tea.
Sugar?
No, sugar is not fashionable anymore.
Cake or bread and butter?
Bread and butter, please. Cake is rarely seen in the best houses nowadays.
And that is Fairfax.
You have filled my tea with lumps of sugar. I know I asked most distinctly for bread and butter. You have given me cake. I am known for the gentleness of my disposition and the extraordinary sweetness of my nature. But I warn you, Miss Cardew, you may go too far.
Save my poor, innocent, trusting boy from the machinations of any other girl. There are no lengths to which I would not go.
From the moment I saw you, I distrusted you. I thought that you were false and deceitful. I am never deceived in such matters. My first impressions of people are invariably right.
Well, it seems to me, Miss Fairfax, that I am intruding on your valuable time. I'm sure you have many other calls of a similar character to make in the neighborhood.
Ernest! My own Ernest!
Gwendolyn, darling.
A moment. May I ask if you are engaged to be married to this young lady?
To dear little Cecily? Of course not. What could put such an idea in your pretty little head?
Thank you. You may.
Gwendolyn, I knew there must be some mistake. The man whose arms at present around your waist is my guardian, Mr. John Worthing.
I beg your pardon?
This is Uncle Jack.
Jack. Oh!
Here is Ernest.
My own love.
A moment, Ernest. Are you engaged to be married to this young lady?
What a woman.
Good heavens.
Gwendolyn? Yes, to good heavens, Gwendolyn. I mean to Gwendolyn.
Of course not. What could have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
Thank you. You may.
I felt there was some slight error, Miss Cardew. The gentleman who is now embracing you is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon Moncrief? Oh. There was no gross deception practiced on both of us.
Remain with John.
Yes.
Is your name really Algernon?
I cannot deny it.
A gross deception has been practiced on both of us.
My poor wounded Cecily.
Sweet wrong, Gwendolyn.
Your brother sister, will you not?
There is just one question I would like to be allowed to ask my guardian.
An admirable idea. Mr. Worthing, there is just one question I would like to be permitted to ask. Where is your brother Ernest? We're both engaged to be married to your brother Ernest. So it's matters of importance to us to know your brother Ernest is.
Gwendolyn. Cecily. It pains me very much to be forced to speak the truth to you. It is the first time in my life I have ever been forced to such a painful position. I'm afraid I'm really quite inexperienced. But I must tell you frankly that I have no brother Ernest. I have no brother at all. And I've never had a brother in my life. And I don't intend to have a brother in the future.
No brother at all?
No.
Had you never a brother of any kind?
Not even of any kind.
I'm afraid it is quite clear, Cecily, that neither of us is engaged to be married to anyone.
It's a very painful position for a young girl to suddenly find herself in, isn't it?
Let's go into the house. They will hardly venture to come after us there.
This ghastly state of things is...
The fact that they did not follow us at once into the house, as anyone else would have done, seems to me to show that they have some sense of shame left.
That seems like repentance.
They don't seem to notice us at all. Couldn't have cough,
But I haven't got a cough.
they're looking at us quite effrontery.
They're approaching. That's very forward of them.
Let us preserve dignified silence.
Certainly, it's the only thing to do now.
This dignified silence seems to produce an unpleasant effect.
Most distasteful one.
But we will not be the first to speak.
Certainly not.
Mr. Worthing, I said no. Much depends on your reply.
Gwendolyn, your common sense is invaluable. Mr. Moncrief, kindly answer me the following question. Why did you pretend to be my guardian's brother?
In order that I might have an opportunity of meeting you.
That certainly seems a satisfactory explanation, does it not?
Yes, dear, if you can believe him.
I don't, but that does not change the wonderful beauty of his answer.
True, in matters of great importance, style, not sincerity, is the vital thing. Mr. Right and question. This is not the moment for German skepticism. Their explanations appear to be quite satisfactory, especially Mr. Worthing's. That seems to me to have the stamp of truth upon it.
I am more than content with what Mr. Moncrief said. His voice alone inspires one with absolute credulity.
Then you think we should forgive them?
Yes. I mean, no.
True. I had forgotten. There are principles at stake that one cannot surrender. Which of us should tell them? The task is not a pleasant one.
Couldn't we both speak at the same time?
An excellent idea! I nearly always speak at the same time as other people. Will you take the time for me?
Certainly.
Your Christian names are still an insuperable barrier. That is all.
Our Christian names, is that all?
But we are going to be christened this afternoon. For my sake, you prepared to do this terrible thing.
I am.
Please name you are ready to face this fearful ordeal.
I am. How absurd to talk of the equality of the sexes. When matters of self-sacrifice are concerned, men are infinitely beyond us.
We are.
They have moments of physical courage, of which we women know absolutely nothing.
Darling! Darling!
Lady Bracknell.
Good heavens!
Gwendolyn, what does this mean?
Really, that I'm engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mamma?
Come here, sit down. Sit down immediately. Hesitation of any kind is a sign of mental decay in the young. Physical weakness in the old. Apprised, sir, of my daughter's sudden flight by her trusty maid, whose confidence I purchased by means of a small coin. I followed her at once by a luggage train. Her unhappy father is, I am glad to say, under the impression that she is attending a more than usually lengthy lecture by the University Extension Scheme on the influence of a permanent income on thought. I do not propose to undeceive him. Indeed, I have never undeceived him on any question. I would consider it wrong. But of course, you will clearly understand that all communication between yourself and my daughter must cease immediately from this moment. On this point, as indeed on all points, I am firm.
I am engaged to Gwendolyn, Lady Bracknell.
You are nothing of the kind, sir. And now, as regards Algernon. Algernon,
Yes, Aunt Augusta?
may I ask if it is in this house that your invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, resides?
No, Bunbury doesn't live here. Bunbury is somewhere else at present. In fact, Bunbury is dead.
Dead? When did Mr. Bunbury die? His death must have been extremely sudden.
Oh, I killed Bunbury this afternoon. I mean, poor Bunbury died this afternoon.
What did he die of?
Bunbury? Oh, he was quite exploded.
Exploded? Was he the victim of a revolutionary outrage? I was not aware that Mr. Bunbury was interested in social legislation. If so, he is well punished for his morbidity.
My dear Aunt Augusta, I mean, Bunbury was found out. The doctors found out that Bunbury could not live. That's what I mean. So Bunbury died.
He seems to have had great confidence in the opinion of his physicians. I am glad, however, that he made up his mind at the last to some definite course of action, and acted under proper medical advice. And now that we have finally got rid of this Mr. Bunbury, may I ask, Mr. Worthing, who is that young person whose hand my nephew Algernon is holding? In what seems to me a peculiarly unnecessary manner.
That lady is my ward, Miss Cecily Cardew.
I'm engaged to be married to Cecily, Aunt Augusta.
I beg your pardon?
Mr. Moncrief and I are engaged to be married. Lady Bracknell.
I do not know whether there is anything peculiarly exciting in the air of this particular part of Hertfordshire, but the number of engagements that go on seems to me considerably above the proper average. The statistics have laid down for our guidance. I merely desire information. Until yesterday, I had no idea that there were any families or persons whose origins are terminus.
Miss Cardew is the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew of 149 Belgrave Square, Southwest, Gervais Park, Dorking, Surrey, and the Sporan, Fifeshire, NB.
That sounds not unsatisfactory. Free addresses always inspire confidence, even in tradesmen. But what proof have I of their authenticity?
I've carefully preserved the court guides of the period. They are open to your inspection, Lady Bracknell.
I've known strange errors in that publication.
Miss Cardew's family solicitors are Messrs. Markby, and Markby.
Markby, and Markby. A firm of the very highest position in their profession. Indeed, I am told that one of the Mr. Markbys is occasionally to be seen at dinner parties. So far, I am satisfied.
How very kind of you, Lady Bracknell. I also in my possession, you will be pleased to hear, certificates of Miss Cardew's birth, baptism, whooping cough, vaccination, registration, confirmation, and the measles, both the German and English variety.
Ah, a life crowded with incident. I see. Though perhaps somewhat too exciting for a young girl. I myself am not in favour of premature experiences. Come, Gwendolyn. The time approaches for our departure. We've not a moment to lose. As a matter of form, Mr. Worthing, I'd better ask you if Miss Cardew has any little fortune.
Oh, about £130,000 in the funds. That is all. So nice to have seen you, Lady Bracknell.
A moment, Mr. Worthing. £130,000? And in the funds? Miss Cardew seems to me a most attractive young lady, now that I look at her. Few girls of the present day have any really solid qualities, any of the qualities that last and improve with time. We live, I regret to say, in an age of surfaces. Come over here, dear. Pretty child. Your dress is sadly simple, and your hair seems almost as nature might have left it. But we can soon alter all that. A thoroughly experienced French maid produced a really marvellous result in a very brief space of time. I remember recommending one to young Lady Lancing, and after 3 months her own husband did not know her.
And after 6 months, nobody knew her.
Kindly turn around, sweet child. No, a side view is what I want. Yes, quite as I expected. There are distinct social possibilities in your profile. The chin a little higher, dear. Style depends largely on the way the chin is worn. They're worn very high just at present. Algernon.
Yes, Aunt Augusta?
There are distinct social possibilities in Miss Cardew's profile.
Cecily is the sweetest, dearest, prettiest girl in the whole world. And I don't care tuppence for social possibilities.
Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only people who can't get into it do that. Dear child, of course you know that Algernon has nothing but his debts to depend upon. But I do not approve of mercenary marriages. When I married Lord Bracknell, I had no fortune of any kind. But I never dreamed for a moment of allowing that to stand in my way. Well, I suppose I must give my consent.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell. Cecily may kiss me. You may also address me as Aunt Augusta in the future.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
The marriage, I think, had better take place quite soon.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
To speak frankly, I'm not in favour of long engagements. They give people the opportunity of finding out each other's character before marriage, which I think is never advisable.
Pray excuse me for interrupting you again. Pray excuse me for interrupting you, Lady Bracknell, but this engagement is quite out of question.
Upon what grounds? Algernon is an extremely, I may almost say ostentatiously eligible young man. He has nothing, but he looks everything. What more can one desire?
It pains me very much to speak frankly to you, Lady Bracknell, but the truth is, I suspect your nephew of being untruthful.
Untruthful? My nephew Algernon. Impossible. He's an Oxonian.
There can actually be no doubt about the matter. This afternoon, during my temporary absence in London on an important question of romance, Algernon gained admittance to my house under the false pretense of being my brother. He drank under the assumed name, I have just been informed by my butler, an entire pint bottle of my Perrier Jouet, Brut 89, a wine I was specifically reserving for myself. He then continued, over the course of the afternoon, to alienate the affection of my only ward. He subsequently stayed to tea, devoured every single muffin, and what makes his conduct all the more heartless is that he knows that I have no brother, that I have never had a brother, and I do not intend to ever have a brother in the future, not even of any kind. I specifically told him so myself yesterday afternoon.
Mr. Worthing, after careful consideration, I have decided entirely to overlook my nephew's conduct to you.
How extremely kind of you, Lady Bracknell. My decision is irrevocable.
Come over here, sweet child. How old are you, dear?
Well, I'm really only 18, but I always admit to 20 when I go to evening parties.
You are quite right in making some slight alteration. Indeed, no woman should ever be quite accurate about her age. It looks so calculating. 18, but admitting to 20 at evening parties. Well, it will not be long before you are of age and free from the restraints of tutelage. So I don't think that your guardian's consent is, after all, a matter of any importance.
Pray excuse me for interrupting you again, but I feel it is only fair to tell you that, according to the terms of her grandfather's will, Miss Cardew does not legally come of age until 35.
That does not seem to me to be a very grave objection. 35 is a very attractive age. London society is full of women of the very highest birth who have, of their own free choice, remained 35 for years. Lady Dumbleton is an instance in point. To my own knowledge, she has been 35 ever since she arrived at the age of 40. Which is many years ago now. I see no reason why our dear Cecily should not be still more attractive at the age you mentioned than she is at present. There will be a large accumulation of property.
Algie, could you wait for me until I was 35?
Of course I could, Cecily.
You know I could. Yes, I felt it instinctively. But I couldn't wait all that time. I couldn't wait even 5 minutes for anybody. It makes me rather cross. I'm not punctual myself, I know, but I do like punctuality in others. And waiting, even to be married, is quite out of the question.
Then what is to be done, Cecily?
I don't know, Mr. Morecambe.
My dear Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cardew states positively that she cannot wait till she is 35, a remark which I feel bound to say seems to me to show a somewhat impatient nature. I would beg you to reconsider your decision.
My dear Lady Bracknell, but the matter is entirely in your own hands. The moment you consent to my marriage with Gwendolen, I will gladly allow your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
You must be quite aware that what you propose is out of the question.
Then a passionate celibacy is all we can look forward to.
That is not the destiny that I propose for Gwendolen. Algernon, of course, may choose for himself. Come, dear, we've missed 5, if not 6 trains already. To miss any more might expose us to comment on the platform.
Everything is quite ready for the christenings.
The christening, sir. It's not that somewhat premature?
Both these men have expressed desire for immediate baptism.
At their age? The idea is grotesque and irreligious. Algernon, I forbid you to get baptized. I will not hear of such excesses. Lord Bracknell would be highly displeased if he learned that that was the way in which you wasted your time and money.
Am I to understand that there are to be no christenings this afternoon?
I think as things stand now, Dr. Chasuble, it would be of no benefit to either of us.
I am grieved to hear such sentiments from you, Mr. Worthing. They say with the heretical views of the Anabaptists, views that I have completely refused to inform my unpublished sermons. However, as your present mood seems to be one peculiarly secular, I will return to the church at once. I've just been informed by the pew opener that for the last hour and a half, Miss Prism has been waiting for me in the vestry.
Miss Prism? Did I hear you mention a Miss Prism?
Yes, Lady Bracknell. I am on my way to join her.
Pray allow me to detain you for a moment. This matter may prove to be one of vital importance to Lord Bracknell and myself. Is this Miss Prism a female of repellent aspect, remotely connected with education?
She is the most cultivated of ladies, the very picture of respectability.
It is obviously the same person. May I ask what position she holds in your household?
I am a celibate, madam.
Miss Prism, Lady Bracknell, has been for the last 3 years Miss Cardew's esteemed governess and faithful companion.
In spite of what I hear of her, I must see her at once. Let her be sent for.
She approaches. She is not.
I was told, dear Canon, that you expected me in the vestry. I've been waiting for you there for an hour and 3/4.
Prism? Come here, Prism. Prism, where is that baby?
Lady Bracknell.
28 years ago, Prism, you left Lord Bracknell's house, number 104, Upper Grosvenor Street, in charge of a perambulator that contained a baby of the male sex. You never returned. A few weeks later, through the elaborate investigations of the Metropolitan Police, the perambulator was discovered at midnight, standing by itself in a remote corner of Bayswater. It contained the manuscript of a 3-volume novel, of more than usually revolting sentimentality. But the baby was not there. Prism, where is that baby?
Lady Bracknell, I admit with shame that I do not know. I only wish I did. The plain facts of the case are these. On the morning of the day you mention, a day that is forever branded on my memory, I prepared as usual to take the baby out to its perambulator. I had also with me a somewhat large but capacious handbag, in which I intended to place the manuscript of a work of fiction that I had written during my few unoccupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction for which I can never forgive myself, I deposited the manuscript in the bassinet and placed the baby in the handbag.
But where did you place that handbag?
Do not ask me, Mr. Worthing.
Miss Prism, this is a matter of no small importance to me. I demand to know where you deposited that handbag that contained that infant.
I placed it in the cloakroom of one of the larger railway stations in London.
Which railway station?
Victoria. The Brighton line.
Pray excuse me, I must retire to my room for a moment. Gwendolen, you will wait here for me?
If you are not too long, I will wait here for you all my life. What do you suppose this means?
I dare not even suspect, Dr. Johnson. I need hardly tell you that examples in my position, strange coincidences are not supposed to occur. They are hardly considered the thing.
Uncle Jack seems strangely agitated.
Guardian is a very close.
This noise is extremely unpleasant. He sounds as if he was having an argument. I dislike arguments of any kind. They are always vulgar and often convincing.
Stop now.
I wish you would arrive at some conclusion.
This suspense is terrible. I hope it will last.
Miss Prism, is this the handbag? Examine it carefully before you speak. The happiness of more than one life depends on your answer.
Yes, it seems to be mine. Here, injury it received for the St. McGower Street omnibus in younger and happier days. Here is the stain and lining caused by the explosion of a temperance beverage considered that occurred in Leamington. And here on the log are my initials. I'd forgotten that in an extravagant mood I placed them there. The bag is undoubtedly mine. I am so delighted to have it so unexpectedly restored to me. It's been a great inconvenience being without it all these years.
More restored to you than that handbag. I was the baby you placed in it.
You?
Yes, mother!
Mr. Worthing, I'm married.
Unmarried? I cannot doubt that is a serious blow. But after all, who has the right to cast a stone against one who has suffered? Cannot repentance wipe out an act of folly? Why is there one law for men and another for women? Mother, I forgive you!
Mr. Worthing, there's some mistake. There is the lady who can tell you who you really are.
Lady Bracknell, I hate to seem inquisitive, but kindly inform me of who I am.
I'm afraid the news I have to give you will not altogether please you. You are the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrief, and consequently Algernon's elder brother.
I have a brother after all. I always knew I had a brother. I always said I had a brother. Cecily, how could you have ever doubted that I had a brother? Dr. Chasuble, my unfortunate brother. Miss Bishop, my unfortunate brother. Gwendolyn, my unfortunate brother. Algy, you young scoundrel. You ought to act with more respect in the future. You have never treated me like a brother in all your life.
Well, not today, old boy. I did my best, however, though I was out of practice.
My own, but what are you? What is your Christian name now that you've become someone else?
Good heavens, I'd quite forgotten that matter. Your decision on the subject is irrevocable, I suppose.
I never change, except in my affections.
Lady Bracknell, at the time, at the place when Miss Prism left me in that handbag, had I been christened already?
Every luxury that money could buy, including christening, had been lavished on you by your fond and doting parents.
I was christened after all. Of course I was. Then what is my Christian name? Let me know the worst.
Being the eldest son, you were naturally christened after your father.
Yes, but what was my father's name?
I cannot at the present moment recall what the general's Christian name was. However, I have no doubt that he had one. He was eccentric, I admit, but only in later years. And that was the result of the Indian climate, and marriage, and indigestion, and other things of that kind.
Algy, do you remember our father's name?
My dear boy, we were never even on speaking terms. He died before I was a year old.
No doubt his name would appear in the army lists of the period.
The general was essentially a man of peace, except in his domestic life. However, I am sure his name would appear in any military directory.
The army lists of the last 40 years are here. These delightful records should have been my constant study. M. Generals. Malham, Moxbom, Magley. What ghastly names they have. Markby, Migsby, Mobbs, Moncrief. Lieutenant, 1840. Captain, Lieutenant Colonel, Colonel General, 1869. Christian names, Earnest, John. My name's Earnest after all. I mean, naturally it is Earnest.
Yes, I remember now that the general was called Earnest. I knew I had some particular reason for disliking the name.
Ernest, my own Ernest, I thought from the first that he could have no other name.
Gwendolyn, it is a very terrible thing for a man to find he's been telling nothing but the truth his entire life. Can you forgive me?
I can, for I feel that you are short-changed. It's a shock.
Gwendolyn.
It's a shock.
Frederick, at last.
Cecily, at last.
My nephew, you seem to be displaying signs of triviality.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, for now I realise for the first time in my life the vital importance of being honest.